If you're like me, then you have a drone that's got a camera on it and you probably love taking video and photos, because I know I sure do, and many people around the world do too. But when you get those photos home, you've got to download them onto your computer usually, and maybe crop them, maybe sharpen them, color saturate, do some color adjustments on them, just to get them looking absolutely perfect. So I'm going to show you another thing that you can do with your photos that are going to improve them even further. It's a little bit controversial. Stick with me, I'll show you what I'm talking about. G'day, I'm Aussie Mark. Thanks very much for watching. My channel is all about helping improve drone media. So that means in showing people how to actually improve their photos and their videos taken with drones. Today we're going to have a look at one thing you can do with the photos that you take. If you're like me, you've got many photos probably sitting on your computer hard drives that are just not being utilized properly, not being shared as much because you've just got so many, you're going to inundate your friends with them. Well, one of the things you can do is to actually add a second image on top of your aerial photos. So I'm going to show you how to do that today. In fact, let's have a look at some examples. These are before and after shots. See what you think. So there you go. What do you reckon? Bit controversial because some people are going to say, oh no, they can't be doing that because it's too, it's fake, basically. It's fake news, as old Donald Trump would say. But what it actually is enhancing and improving your photos to make them even better to look at. So imagine for a moment that you've taken a photo with your drone similar to this one. You've basically got an image where the lower third of the image is kind of where the drone is looking, the view is actually looking down, so anything you add will need to make sure that it's been taken from above. In the middle you can get away with adding something that is being taken pretty much front on because there's a horizon line. And if you're going to add something in the top third, then you can get away with taking a photo or having a photo added of something that's been taken from slightly below. So that might be a balloon or a bird or whatever you like. And in my case, I'm going to add this photograph of an eagle that I found, and I'll show you where you can find images like that in just a moment. So I select it by going Control A, then Control C will allow me to copy it. Then I'm going to go back to this image, and by doing a Control Shift V, it's actually going to drop this into the image there. Now, if I just click away from that, whoops, we'll just go to get rid of that, and you can see now that that doesn't look too bad where it is. It's a little bit dark compared to the quality of the light, so consider the light on the image that you're going to add as well. What I'm going to do for this particular one, I'm going to try it in a couple of different places. So let's just see if we can move this. What would it look like if I moved it to, what would it look like if I moved it to the middle? Middle doesn't look quite so good because the image is way too dark to be sitting directly against there. Now I could just adjust that. If I moved it to down here somewhere, it's not necessarily going to look anywhere near as good because the bird is looking almost straight on, so it needs to be somewhere from there up. I actually quite like it where it originally was, over here on this side. So I'm just going to darken it a little bit by going up to my adjustments, brightness and contrast, and I'm just going to decrease that maybe up to, or reduce my, don't want to go too much. Maybe reduce the contrast a little bit as well. Okay, so you can see, I might make that brightness down to maybe -5 or 6. And if I just okay that one. So now you've got a much more interesting image than you had before, simply by adding a feature to it. Let's try another one, and we're going to go the whole process now. Here's an image. This time it's a stitched image, so it's even more crucial that you get your angles right on this one. So the bottom half of the image was taken looking down at about 30 degrees, and the top half of the image was looking straight ahead. So it's a beach image. You're obviously going to need to find something that's suitable for the picture you're taking. There was no point putting an American eagle into an Australian photograph, for example. So I'm going to go over to my browser, where I recommend you have a look for images in these two particular places. Unsplash.com is the first one, and it will allow you to take these images, very kindly donated by photographers from around the world. As you can see, lots and lots and lots of images which you can search for. So if I put in here bird, for example, B-I-R-D, I can now, whoops, when it's had a think about it, press enter, and I've now got dozens and dozens and dozens of photographs of birds that I'm allowed to take and use because they are kindly donated. There's no copyright infringement on them. So I'd be looking for a bird in here that's going to fit in with my beach photograph. That pelican might work. And obviously it needs to be a flying object. There is no point in having anything where the photo is taken from significantly above, from significantly below, like that, for example, here. That one simply wouldn't work in this beach location because he's looking for food. It looks as though it's going to be a country bird. Seagull might work very, very nicely, in fact. However, that's looking from way, way below, looking up. So that's not really going to be practical either. And we can just go scrolling on through here until we find something we like. The other place that you can go and look for images is Pixabay. Now, Pixabay will allow you to take free stock images. However, if you want to get to the highest resolution version of these photographs that it offers, then you're going to need to sign in. Basically, just create a free account for yourself, and then away you go. So if I put in birds into this one, for example, birds in there. Just before I actually search for the birds, you'll see over here a drop-down menu. You can actually look for images that have already had the background removed simply by clicking on transparent. So if I do that and then hit the search button, it's going to give me a bunch of clip art versions, but I'm looking for realistic. Obviously I want to add it to my photograph, and you start getting realistic images down here. So we're looking for a bird in flight that's going to fit the beach scene. You can see there's a couple of eagles there. That one's taken from ever so slightly above. That one's taken from above as well, so they'd work really good in other photos. And so on and so forth. There are pages and pages of these things. We'll just click one more page quickly to give you a bit more of an idea of other things that are available here. That one wouldn't work at all, of course, because it's taken from almost directly below. So if I go back, I'm not going to use the transparent images because I want to actually take the background image off something that I saw earlier. So I'm going to get rid of that transparent image there. And then we'll click search again, and the image that I liked was somewhere in here. I believe it was this osprey, because that's a beach bird and it'd be quite dynamic. So I'm going to click on that. Then I can either hit free download over here, and as you can see it says free for commercial use, no attribution required. So you don't even have to acknowledge who took the photograph. However, I think out of respect to the photographer, it would be a great idea to do so. You can also download it simply by clicking this image, and then if we go to free download, you can either download it as a small, medium or large image. I always opt for the largest one because it's better to scale it down than to try and scale it up. You end up losing too much quality that way. Download it. And there we go, she's downloading. So now if I go back to my graphics program, to the beach image, and this tool that I'm using here, this graphics program, is called paint.net, different to just the regular paint program, much more much more features, and it's free. I'll put the link to that down in the description. So now I'm going to open up that image I just downloaded. We'll go open, go to downloads, and we should be able to see the osprey. There it is. Okay, now because this is on a blue background, it's lovely and easy to remove. Simply clicking on the tool here, the magic wand tool, click on the background. You can see it's taken out all of the background, but it's also taken out some of the bird, so we need to reduce the tolerance on this. So now it looks like we've got all of the sky. Might even bring that up just a touch. Oh, it's starting to do it again. So back down, we need to come back down to about 25, 26, about there will do. Hit the delete button and she's gone. And then I'm just going to feather it. Basically, I'm going to make the edges a little bit softer so it doesn't stand out as much. Okay, so I'm going to go to Object, Feather, Old Feather, and I'm just going to take this feather radius up to maybe 4 or 5. It just softens the outline edge, and I'll OK that. Now to add this to my image, simply go Control A for selecting all of it, Control C to copy it, go over to my image, and I'm going to go Control Shift V to drop it in. Now you can see what I've done here is I've got a bird that doesn't quite, the image is much smaller than my photograph. I was hoping it would be bigger than that. Excuse the noise outside, I've got a builder next door. If I try and scale this up, it's not going to look quite as good. So what I'm going to do, I'll leave it at that size for now. And again, that could go there. Birds hovering. If you start putting it down there, it's going to look ridiculous. It doesn't fit. It needs to be above because the image is looking slightly up at it. Maybe I'll have him hovering over the grass because that's where more likely to be food would be, and maybe I'll shrink it down even more. Now again, it's a little bright for my liking, so I'm going to go back to adjustments, brightness and contrast, and I've already this has already given me what I used in the last photograph. Brightness has been reduced by 6 and the contrast by -27. So there you go. So you can basically do your searches in Pixabay or in Unsplash or any other place where you can find attribution-free and royalty-free photos. Add them to your image and away you go. You've got a much nicer looking photograph because there's something special to look at, not just the standard photograph, even though that looks nice to start with. Thanks very much for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, and I hope you have, then could you give us a thumbs up? That would be really much appreciated. And if you haven't subbed yet, please hit that subscribe button, smash it on down, because I'd really love to have you as a member of our community here on YouTube, so that we can share not only video tutorials, but also examples of things that I've learned and that I find out that are going to help you improve the drone media that you make. Thanks. Take care. Bye.